Hydroscribe has a full inventory system built into it. An inventory, of course, is the collection of parts and chemicals that you have on hand to service pools. Now, most software on the market allows you to put in a list of your parts and your chemicals, but that's where they stop. Hydroscribe goes way beyond that, and let me show you what I mean. Our inventory system is a supply management tool. In other words, as you use parts and chemicals, it will keep track of them. But it is also a financial tool. As you use parts and chemicals, it will keep track of how much you use, how much it actually costs you for each item that you use, and how much you charge the customers, if you charge customers. And therefore, looking at that information, you can tell whether you're making money, breaking even, or losing money. For example, if you buy a 50-pound bucket of chlorine tablets, you may only use 5 tablets in one pool, 3 tablets in another, and 4 tablets in another pool. But our inventory system will keep track of how much each usage, the 3 tablets, 4 tablets, 5 tablets, costs you, and how much you should charge the customer, and therefore you can tell whether you're losing money, breaking even, or making money off of your chemicals. Third, it is also a security tool. If you start the week with 2 pumps in the pool tech's truck, and by the middle of the week he says, oh, he used them both in servicing pools, A, he should be able to tell you which pools he used them in. But more importantly, B, you should be able to go out into the system and see exactly where those pumps were used. And if they're not, then you're being ripped off. It's as simple as that. So what we're going to do now is take a quick look at the inventory system, and we'll take a look at how you can use our inventory system for each one of these purposes. Let's take a look. Okay, so you click on inventory to open up the inventory, and you can see it's divided by parts and chemicals. Parts are easier to understand because you simply count them. So let's take a look at a part. Just here's a list of all the parts I have. This is my test system, so I'm going to look at the page 2, but let's pull up a part and take a look at what an entry looks like. So this is a part, and you can see there's a part number, and it has a part name. Do you always want to charge for this part? Has the manufacturer and the vendor that you bought the part from, how many you bought and how many you still have in inventory, the total cost of all the parts and the cost of each part, and below that you have how much you want to mark up the cost and charge the customer. So here, for example, I'm marking up this part by 80% and charging the customer $115.34 for the part that cost me $64.08. Okay, and below is the location. Where is the part currently located? You can also specify that you want to allow additional discounts or markups on the part based on the customer. Okay, so that's what the part looks like. We can take a look at the chemicals too. Let's just look at the chemicals. For example, here's chlorine tablets. Again, we have a product ID, and we have a SKU and a product name, and we tell what we use it for, the vendor that we bought it from, how much we bought. We bought, for example, here 2 containers, and they both contain 50 pounds each. Okay. We also can tell how much each tablet weighs when we put that chemical in service, how much was the total cost of all the containers, and how much I want to mark up each container. So it tells me I have 2 remaining in inventory, 2 containers remaining, and each container cost me $104.99, and I'm selling each container for $209.98. Now, out in the field, your pool tech won't be using a full container of chlorine tablets in one pool. No, instead he'll be using 3 tablets here, 5 tablets there, and so on. But the system is going to use this information to calculate what is being used and how much you charge for that chemical, if you charge, and therefore you can see quickly whether you're making money or not. So let's now go and take a look at how you can track whether you're making money or not. So we have lots of reports in the system. Now some of the reports are available through here, but our full list of reports are actually available through the financial section. The first option is reports. You just go ahead and click reports, and you click the first drop down tab, and you'll see a full list of our reports. Now let's just look at some of the reports that you can do. For example, I can figure out whether I'm making money on a route. So click profit on a route, and let's say this is my test system, so I'll say I'm going to start at the top of the year, 101, 2016, and I'm going to go through today, and I'm going to say, okay, this route 52 East, and I click submit. What it's going to do is it's going to go to my inventory system. It's going to see what was used, how many parts were used, chemicals that were used, where they were used, and it's going to calculate whether I actually made a profit or not, or I lost money. So here's what it looks like. For example, here are all my customers, and going across you can see the parts that were used for that customer, the amount of chemicals that were used for that customer, the labor, and the total revenues I got from that customer, and therefore whether I made a profit on that customer or not. Okay, and down at the bottom you have the total, so you know on this route, for example, this is how much total profit I made. Okay, but as you notice, in some instances I actually lost money on some of the customers. So those are the kinds of things you want to keep an eye on to make sure that your business is doing well. There are other reports in there that you can look at. For example, you can list how profitable your customers are or not. You can list the most profitable customers for a time period, or the least profitable customers for that time period. You can also do inventory type reports. Remember I said, for example, if your pool tech started the week with 2 pumps, and at the end of the week he had none, and he told you use them inside of customers' pools, you should be able to do a parts use summary. For example, you can say, I want to look at the parts that were used just this week. For example, I could say, I want you to start on Monday and go for 1 week and see what kind of parts were used. All you have to do is look through this report. He told you that he used both pumps. If those pumps don't show up on this list, it means you're being ripped off. So there are lots of reports to explore in this system, and lots of ways to make sure your business is staying on track. The inventory system is your best friend, but it will only work for you if you use real world numbers inside of your inventory system. So we encourage you to take the time to put real numbers in there, and so the system will help you track your costs and how much you charge, and tell you whether you're making money or not.